This capture was filmed by Jason Sirachi out at our Timewarp location. This location has yielded quite a bit of evidence here for us, both with a orb and some flashing going on the mountainside, just like Skinwalker Ranch. Some weird stuff going on there that Jason's able to capture. This is actually the first time he's been able to capture a flash happening on the side of the mountain. It normally just happens on the side of your eye. You can't, it just doesn't, we just haven't been able to capture it. But this is the first time. It looks to me like some kind of bean. I have no explanation for it, and when we go near the mountain, it is very hard for someone to actually be able to walk up there. It's not something you would see people going and hanging out on the side of a mountain here. This special capture also includes, the same night, the orb over at the Timewarp location. This orb has been viewed and seen multiple times by multiple eyewitnesses. Jason actually runs a Skywatch tour called the Vegas UFO Skywatch, and you can go out to the Timewarp location with Jason Sirachi and try and see the Timewarp orb. It's beautiful. It's a mystery. We don't have an explanation for it, and we continue to investigate it. As far as we are concerned, this potentially could be some kind of plasma anomaly happening, and this is due to the wires, the amperage, and possibly even the ground, what it's comprised of out there. Here's a zoomed in video, same video here, of this Timewarp orb that we keep on capturing. It kind of travels the same spot there. And again, we don't have an explanation for it. People all around the world have hypothesized that this is a person walking, or some kind of, some kind of, I guess, a car or a Jeep or an ATV sort of thing, kind of like the Marfa lights there. However, we believe otherwise, and Jason and a lot of eyewitnesses have gone out there and seen that this actually isn't people at all. This is some kind of orb. A friend of mine, Daniel, his name's Time Captain FM. You can find him on Instagram. He sent me a bunch of videos. He's looking for the something like the Marfa lights out where he lives near Denton, Texas. And this video right here he's shown was some kind of light that disappeared, and then all of a sudden it reappears again. Further on down, you can see the red light there flashing. That red light flashing is probably flashing to warn any kind of airline stuff out there from hitting the ground. We see these present all over the place where there's high air traffic. Alternatively, we don't see any flashing on this object. It is a solid object, and it is traveling towards the ground. So I really couldn't tell you what this is, if this is the Marfa lights, or if this is an airplane or helicopter or some other something. We would have to look at the time, the date, the location, and we'd have to go and cross-reference things against like an airplane tracker, map tracker sort of deal. And, this is how we would try and determine whether or not this is something that's otherworldly. And this is why I actually wrote a book just recently called the UFO Identification Handbook, Preventing Misidentifications. And inside, it's got a paperback version where you have a Skywatch journal included, where you can throw in all the information so you can go back and cross-reference it. I film all the time as well, just like all the other guys that I'm in contact with. And although I usually only capture a lot of bugs, birds, and airplanes, helicopters, satellites, and all these kind of good things, the other day I captured something flashing that it baffles my mind. There's no explanation for this. This camera is pointed up into the sky, and this light here, it doesn't even look like it's a part of an airplane. There's two lights, then it's one light, then it's two lights, then it's one light, and they're like these long band strips. I don't have an explanation for it. Totally weird and messed up. But, I am using certain methods that we've been using, such as using Tesla coils and pendants and different kinds of tones that we're using with Joshua P. Warren that he's created, as well as Joshua P. Warren's sigils. We're really trying to manifest UFO experiences. The meteorite pendants, I'll leave you a link on how to get to those. They're really cool. Also, the Skywatch tour, how to get in touch with Jason and sign up and do that. If you're interested in night vision goggles as well, we have them for sale on the Paratemporal Night Vision website. You can pick up cheaper pair of binoculars, or you can even get the goggles that Jason exclusively uses on the tours. I think we also have some binoculars as well on the tours that you get to use and check out. I highly recommend it. Looking at the night sky with all the stars on night vision, it's out of this world. It's something you have to see with your own eyes. The other thing I wanted to talk about really quickly, before I let you go, is the things going on in the world. The world's a crazy place right now. Wouldn't you agree? With all the things being broadcast on the news, all the war type stuff going on, all the planetary type stuff going on, all the warring feuds between people's opinions of what's what and who's who and what's right and what's wrong. I can't believe the world that we're living in today. I feel like people like 100 years ago, if you told them what we'd be dealing with nowadays, they would absolutely be gobsmacked and they wouldn't believe you whatsoever. I know I certainly wouldn't either if I was around 100 years ago to see what it's like today. It's absolutely insane. And I think it's important that we protect ourselves, and some of the things that we should be doing to protect ourselves would be learning how to garden, learning how to capture our own power. A friend of mine created the Sunshine Simple Solar Generator, and this device is something that can power you up in life-saving situations anytime where you have any kind of power outages. And it's got a little voltage, like you just plug in your devices. It's super easy to use. But what he just recently did, because of all the craziness that's happening around the world, is he also is including a Faraday cage EMP protection kit, where you basically have a fully working Faraday cage that would protect your solar unit in the event of an EMP blast or some kind of solar ray blast that would wipe out all of our electronics. If that ever happened, you would actually be considered safe and sound with your Sunshine Simple Solar Generator. I'll include the link on that as well. I think it's a great investment. The first couple units that we sold of the Sunshine Simple Solar Generator actually went to people in the CIA. Now, if the people who work in the industry of the Central Intelligence Agency are looking to purchase an EMP protected solar generator, are you kidding me right now? What do they know that we don't know? What's coming down the pipe, y'all? All this crazy rhetoric about UFOs being back engineered. We've known it for a long time. We've said it for a long time. They have ridiculed us for a long time. Who really know who's telling the truth here? All I know is that there are things in the sky that we can't explain. We're out there capturing them. I wrote a book trying to help people to discern between what's real and what's fake out there, because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the preface of the craziest times that we're ever going to live in. The golden age, as I'm going to say, I'm going to claim it now, the golden age of our society, where we are either at the tipping point of total destruction or total enlightenment. Who knows what's going to happen here? I'm going to sit idly by and be excited about it. Lots of other things going on in my life. I was actually recently diagnosed with something called rheumatoid arthritis. If there's anyone out there who has rheumatoid arthritis, my heart goes out to you. About a year ago to about 6 months ago, I could barely hold a coffee cup and I could barely walk. Watching people walking across the street actually made me so jealous and want to cry. Luckily, now that I've had the determination of what it is and the drugs that I'm on, I'm actually doing a little bit better, to the point where I'm actually going to be able to get back to work. And the other thing that happened to me recently, if you're still listening to this, I actually had some crazy person try and murder me, believe it or not. I've been dealing with so much stress over the last 4 months. This person who lived above my wife and I just recently got married in October, just last year. It's a great time, supposed to be a great time for me. And the person living above us was dealing with a lot of mental illness. And I guess I was the focal point of all that mental illness. And this person was trying to make my life a living hell. Fortunately for us, they moved out, and unfortunately, when they moved out, they came back and they actually bashed our windows to our house, the windows to our car. When they were arrested the next day, they were arrested because they broke into the house that they used to live in, the upstairs apartment. He was tased 3 times, and within 24 hours, this guy was out. This guy had a trial last month, and it was arraigned because they're still gathering evidence and information. This guy wants to go ahead and represent himself. I can't tell you how terrible the system is in Canada for victims of this kind of activity. I spent about $1,700 to go and get my windows fixed for my wife's car and my car. My landlord spent over $6,000 getting all the windows and damages done to the house that this kid's done. This kid is probably not going to have to pay us any cent or any dime. I had to move. It cost me first and last month. I can't even tell you, being a victim of this kind of stuff, I've never thought it possible. I've watched it on television all the time. I'm the type of person to help people out. And in this dude's circumstance, I helped this guy get a job. I gave this dude money when he had no money. I gave this guy food when he had no food. And I took this guy to the hospital when he said he was suicidal. And this is what happened for me helping this person. It's insane. It's such a crazy story, y'all, and it's still developing. This guy is going to get sentenced, hopefully, on June the 25th of 2023. It's really sad to see any victims in Canada of any kind of violent crime or any kind of crime whatsoever. My heart goes out to you. All my American friends and friends from overseas tell me what kind of actions the cops would have done in their cities, in their countries. And let me tell you, in my city, in my country, it took them 40 minutes with this person at the property making accusations to kill me, and me being told not to use any kind of self-defense or I would be getting in trouble. And it took the cops 40 minutes to get to our place, y'all. 40 minutes. I can't believe it. This is kind of like the first time I publicly went ahead and talked about this, because it's messed me up so much. Like, I'm hyper vigilant everywhere I go. I'm kind of looking over my shoulder thinking this nut job's just gonna pop up and he's gonna kill me. I'm having trouble sleeping. I'm waking up to nightmares of him stabbing me and stuff. Oh man, it's so messed up. And to think that, none of this would have happened if I would have never bothered to try and help this person whatsoever. Oh, it's a sad world to think that, that's the case. And that's kind of my takeaway now, is I'm going to be very hard to press to trust anyone again in that way. But yeah, anyway, that's me in a nutshell. That's what's going on. If y'all have got some time and you got some cash in your pocket, y'all, I would really love your support, and I would really appreciate it if you could pick up one of two of the books, the handheld book, the paperback novel that gives you the UFO identifications, the preventing misidentifications, and the Skywatch journal. Or you can pick up the ebook, which actually has links that you can click on to take you to the videos that give you real examples of all the things that I'm telling you should be paying attention to and looking for when you're skywatching, trying to find UFOs. I hope y'all are having a good day. I hope you enjoyed what I'm presented here today. And thanks a lot for all your love and support. Remember, all the links will be down in the descriptions of the video. Thank you. Bye now.